Hi, I'm David Zeiger, and I am thrilled and delighted to be coming to you from Trailers from Hell. I'm here to talk about one of my favorite coming-of-age films. It's an iconic 1960s story about a boy on the edge of adulthood who finds true love in his real self after being used and manipulated by an older woman, all set to the songs of one of the great rock groups of the era. Nope, not that one. I'm talking about You're a Big Boy Now, written and directed by a relative unknown at the time who had only one previous credit, the Roger Corman-produced slasher film Dementia 13, a fella named Francis Ford Coppola. And the music by the underrated Lovin' Spoonful is to my mind one of the best soundtracks ever. Actually, You're a Big Boy Now, which was Coppola's thesis film at UCLA, preceded The Graduate by a year, and it has a much different sensibility. Coppola was a fan of Richard Lester's classic Beatles film, A Hard Day's Night, with its playful nose-thumbing of stuffy British society. So he took a novel, You're a Big Boy Now, which was set in London, and transferred it to the United States. He placed the story in New York and proceeded to send up everyone from old-world intelligentsia to the avant-garde theater crowd. Shot all on location in the city, this film is just a lot of fun. It's full of puns, pranks, and silly parodies, most of which work. We see it through the eyes of Bernard Chanticleer, a gregarious, innocent-to-a-fault lad who's finally breaking away from his controlling father and stifling mother by getting his own place in the city. He, of course, falls under the sway of a manipulative bad girl, played by the very talented Elizabeth Hartman, whose career and life met a very tragic end only a few years after this film. The rest of the cast is pretty amazing for a novice director's film in 1967. Karen Black, in her first film role, plays the good girl who finally saves Bernard, who's played by Canadian Peter Kastner. Rip Torn has a blast as his blustering father, and Geraldine Page, in a role that got her an Oscar nod, is his over-the-top mom. To fill it out, there's the venerable Julie Harris, who does a wonderful turn as Bernard's annoying landlady, and the great character actor Dolph Sweet is the dumb cop next door. And I have to mention that soundtrack again, which includes the Spoonful's great love song Darlin' Be Home Soon, along with several lesser-known originals. Mike Nichols reportedly worried that You're a Big Boy Now preempted The Graduate, but Big Boy is really an early 60s film, more interested in having fun and playfully tweaking society's norms than in the rebellious spirit that Nichols captured. The scene where Bernard fantasizes off a piece of racist graffiti is itself worth the price of admission. Hint, it involves an African-American Highland bagpiper, played by the real jazz Celtic bagpiper Rufus Harley. In a stroke of bad luck, Big Boy ran into distribution problems that set its release in most cities back to after The Graduate had exploded on the scene, and it didn't fare well in comparison. Reviewers tended to peg it as derivative, and it was pretty much a flop at the box office. It's ironic how a film that's very much of its time one minute can be written off as dated and out of step the next, and I think that's what happened to You're a Big Boy Now. Coppola himself even wrote in a letter 4 years later that he thought it was naive and flashy. But despite its less than stellar reputation, Big Boy is an enjoyable snapshot of a time, a place, and a sensibility that I, for one, sorely miss. And I understand Francis Coppola had a pretty successful career the following years. So for a nostalgic taste of early 60s New York, and really just a good time, go watch You're a Big Boy Now, and definitely check out that Lovin' Spoonful soundtrack.
You're a big boy now. You're a big boy now. Come on and say goodbye.